Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, hope your Tuesday is off to a fantastic start. The LSU women's basketball team wins again. So the Tigers beat Tennessee. They moved to 21-0. They had a record 15,150 something. Since they've reconfigured the PMAC in 05, that's a record crowd in any sport, which is pretty incredible. You're not even all the way through year 2 under Kim Mulkey and already reaching those heights. So congrats to the ladies, moving to 21-0 and getting people fired up, man. Craig Dugas, Morning Mulkey Maniacs, women's basketball school now. Right now, certainly are. It's purple and gold, it wins, people will support it, and boy, hey, you can't do better than 21, can you? So, yesterday on AFR, had Jim Kleinpeter on the show, who's working for The Advocate, covering the women's basketball team. And I said after the interview, things are shifting here when we're actually, it's not just, the conversation isn't just, man, they're great. Man, it's incredible what Kim Mulkey has done. It's, all right, you're talking about the game now. Alexis Morris and Bayou Barbie went off last night. Great game. People are locked in, man. People are locked into this team now. And if they aren't yet, that win last night, the attention certainly will do it. Alexis Morris had 31 last night. That was a career high. So, everybody's going to be eyeing the game against South Carolina. And again, I don't know if they can beat them. I mean, look, they almost beat them last year, right? That game was in Baton Rouge. This one's in Columbia, but, they're back on the floor Thursday against Georgia. It was a busy week. It's a 3-game week. Thursday against Georgia, Sunday against Texas A&M. Then you get a week off, and you play at South Carolina February 12th, Sunday the 12th. So that's Super Bowl Sunday, by the way, but it's a 1 o'clock tip, so the game will be over before the Super Bowl. But the fact that we're even talking about that, women's basketball and Super Bowl Sunday, and people will actually be tuned into it, is pretty incredible. So, all right, y'all. Let's say some good mornings. See what y'all got. I also have there on the description LSU baseball report. So, excuse me, if anything y'all want to talk about with the baseball team, let me know. They've been practicing since Friday, scrimmaging, and starting to get a little bit of a feel for the team, who's going to be where, questions, things like that. So fire away. All right, Trivia Carter, good morning. Thomas Lamont, all hail the Queen, Kim Mulkey. Was it worth $2.5 million that they paid her? I mean, you're getting a return on that investment for sure. Randall Offrecht, morning Scone. I believe Jay Johnson will be the most accomplished coach when it's all said and done. Agree. So put some parameters around that, Randall. I mean, Jay's 40, Jay's 45. So, for example, Brian Kelly's 59. Kim Mulkey's 60. Kim Mulkey's 60? 61? Or is she in her 50s? Kim's 60. She's 60. So Brian Kelly's 59. Kim's 60. Matt McMahon has a steep climb ahead. So the fact that Jay will likely be here longer than those two probably speaks to that. But I mean, if you're talking about like national championships, I mean, Kim Mulkey's already got 2. So I'm sorry, 3. She had 3. Don't let me short her one. Woo. So, he's got a long way to go. Unless if you're only talking about their time in Baton Rouge. Wendell Norman, good morning. Matt Plavidal, good morning. Gonna enjoy my one day off. Only with the post office, 6-day grind every week for the foreseeable future. All right, Matt. Kick them feet up and enjoy some R&R, man. Reed Rule, good morning. Any renovation plans for the PMAC in the foreseeable future? Yeah, man. So Reed, they did actually renovate it not long ago. They changed the seats in the PMAC. They updated the concourse and all that stuff. But it needs a massive overhaul, and they did last summer do a fan survey to sort of explore all different options. And as best I could tell is that they are not going to build a new venue, because as I understand it, they want to keep everything right there. They like the fact that football, basketball, track, baseball, it's all right there. The baseball moved a little bit, but they like that everything is right there in that corner of campus. So building a new arena is not likely. Could they tear down the Maravich Center and build a new arena right there? That also seems improbable, because then they'd have to move their games for a year or two, whatever it would be, while they build a new arena. But I do believe that they will renovate the PMAC again. But how much money do you keep seeking into a 50-year-old building? That's antiquated and, it's what it is. Brad David, were you at the PMAC last night? I was not. Watching on TV. Pat Huseman, good morning. Sean Comiskey, good morning. Like how Stetson Bennett has gone from Mr. Relevant to free agent. Any concerns Skeens and Hurd will have growing pains in the SEC? Nope. I mean, those dudes have already proven they can pitch at the highest level in college baseball and get guys out. Hurd was in the Pac-12, and Skeens was at Air Force. You could still look at who. Come on, load. Anyway, it's not load. I was going to run through their schedule last year, but no, I don't. It's no different than when you have a great player at LSU that you have a great player at LSU that goes into pro ball, and like K. Doty's a great example. K. Doty left LSU. He was drafted, went into rookie ball, A ball, or whatever, and just absolutely annihilated A ball. So even though he was stepping up to pro ball, he's a dude, and he's far advanced from that, and Skeens will be as well. So he'll be fine. Jason Austin, good morning. Let's see. Greg Duke, my only gripe was the crowd volume. I remember being louder in that building with 7,000 after Tyrus Thomas do monster dunk. That could, Craig, just be a product, honestly, of crowd mics. I'm assuming you're watching on TV. I don't know that. I'm assuming, but crowd mics could be a part of that. Jason Austin, I saw Mason Taylor at the game last night with his left arm in a sling. Did he have some sort of shoulder surgery? Will he miss spring practice? I'll check on it. I think he actually had something before the season as well. Let me check and get confirmation. I know he's not the only one. I don't know if I want to disclose. There's a few players that are going to miss spring practice due to injuries to clean up things from the season. Yes. Craig Duga, Brian Kelly has the best shot at multiple national championships. Kim and Jay will need a little bit of luck. See, Craig, I disagree with you, man. I think Kim Mulkey has the best shot because it is of the three sports, I would say that's the one that the path is still the cleanest because there's the least amount of competition. I don't mean for that to be disrespectful or dismissive. What I mean is you still see NCAA tournament games in women's basketball with margins of victory by like 60. You have a massive gap between the elite few and the many. And LSU is proving they're in the elite few. So you just don't have as many great teams committed to being great in women's basketball. So again, I know that's probably going to sound dismissive. I don't mean for it to be, and it's nobody's fault. It's just a product of the sport and its popularity. Excuse me. And baseball is different because while the same is true, you have a fewer number of schools committing massive resources. Baseball is a sport where Coastal Carolina can win a national championship. Stony Brook can go to Omaha. It's when Loyola of Chicago makes it to the Final Four in men's basketball, it's a gigantic outlier. It's just more common in baseball because it's baseball. The team that is physically inferior can still win with good fundamentals and executing pitches and things like that. Jim Arsenault, good morning. Could this be LSU baseball's deepest, most talented group on the mound? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you could go back to the 2000 and 2009 championship teams. I think you could look at 2012, and I think it's probably a product of all of us. We forget about the great teams that don't win national championships, but think about 2012. Your rotation was Gosman, Eads, Nola. You had 3 first-rounders in your rotation. Gosman and Nola were both top 10 picks, and Eads was, I think, in the sandwich round, but I think he was 30th. Let's see where Eads was picked. Sorry, Eads went in round 2, 43rd overall. So, but still, you had Gosman, who was a top 10 pick, Eads, who was 43rd overall, Nola, who was a top 10 pick. So, I mean, that rotation is as salty as anything LSU's had, right? Ever. But it's 2012, and people forget the team that didn't win it all. Jeff McKithen, good morning, hitting the big double nickel. Okay, 55 today. How about it, Jeff? Happy birthday, man. Hope it's an awesome one for you. Live it up, dude. Live it up. Take care of yourself and enjoy the day, man. Happy birthday. David Coslin, good morning. Hunter Broadhead, hey Matt, good morning. I was reading Nick Underhill's article, and it does not look like it will be that bad for the Saints to be positive 30 million in the cap. Yeah, so that's never the problem, Hunter. And like getting within cap compliance, you can always structure contracts and restructure deals to make that work. That's not the problem. The problem is when you restructure those deals, you leverage yourself terribly on the back end. So Michael Thomas is a great example of that. Because they had to find cap space, they restructured Michael Thomas, and now he's got a contract that makes him completely untradeable and not worth keeping either. So, and that was the previous restructuring, not the most recent one, but the most recent one for sure. You know, Kamara, same thing. And when you restructure these guys' contracts, if they play well, no big deal. But when they don't, then you're saddled with an awful contract that's devastating to the cap and a player that's not performing. That's how you end up in the situation the Saints are in. So, Hunter, the problem isn't getting under the cap and finding money to spend. The problem is, in so doing, you create the same issue you have now for future years. Every year you do this, you restructure contracts, like the Saints, they kick the can down the road, but it's what you're doing. You're just guaranteeing you have this same issue again next year and the following. Excuse me. Whew. Pat Usman, did I hear right? The Tiger Pep Band playing neck at the PMAC. Women's basketball, more docile crowd. Matt Plavidal, is Tommy White the biggest player that LSU acquired as far as non-pitchers? You mean ever? Or this year? I mean, I would say so. Guy had 27 jacks as a freshman last year. We were talking about transfers. I mean, I could look back at some guys who were maybe JUCO players who came in. You know, Brandon Larson is a good example of that. A guy who came in, was here for 1 year and hit 40 bombs, you know. But maybe as far as the time that they got him transferred in. Brett DeGros, Shane O'Mac, good morning. Reed Rule, who would you expect to get the first shot at closer? Yeah, man, I think it's going to be Grant Taylor. I mean, you know, Jay Johnson mentioned about 6 different names of guys they could use back there. It's great to have options, but I think ideally they give the ball to Grant Taylor, say, hey, go throw 100 and give me 3, 4, 5, 6 outs, whatever you need. Thomas Lamont, LSU baseball will have 3 dudes with double-digit homers under their belt who won't be everyday starters. Dugas, Joe Bear, Beloso. Crazy to think about. It's true. And I think, Thomas, maybe the biggest challenge Jay is going to have on this team is handling veteran players who are going to have to take a reduced role. And you just mentioned some of them. Now, Joe Bear homered on Saturday off of Thatcher Hurd, and he had 18 bombs a year ago. So if he keeps hitting like that, then it's hard to justify not having him in the lineup. The question then becomes, where do you put him? You put him in right field and hide him there, but he's a liability. By the way, someone mentioned this yesterday, and I thank you for being here as always. Please smash that like button if you're on YouTube, Facebook. Please like the Matt and Scone page, share the post. As always, brought to you by Brock, Banner's Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing. You need an orthopedics, go to Brock. You need a roof, give us a shout at Hudco. Restored Motions, got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche, and ProCharge EV. EV charging stations. Check it out, prochargeev.com. Yesterday, someone pointed out at the end of the show, Matt, Jobear's not a liability, and right, he only had one error last year. Okay. First of all, it's difficult for outfielders to commit errors. You could certainly have a throwing error, and you could drop a ball, right? You could hit your glove, you could drop it. That's about it. The bigger point with Jobear is that he doesn't cover a lot of ground. What I mean is, okay, when you had Mark Laird in right field, if a ball was hit in the right center gap, Mark Laird was going to catch it. If a ball is hit in the right center field gap with Braden Jobear in right, if Cruz isn't shaded over and can't get to the ball, that's a double off the wall. You see what I mean? That's where I say you're a defensive liability. And he is, but if you hit 18 homers or 20 homers, then you'll give up the occasional knock for the bat. Unless if Jay Johnson looks at his lineup and says, you know what, we got a ton of offense, let me put a glove out there, which he may. So maybe it's Stevenson. You know, they're very high on Paxton Kling, freshman out of Pennsylvania. So I think they'll take these 3 weeks and make that decision, and I think a lot of people are going to get playing time, especially early in the season. And by the time conference play rolls around, they'll have their lineup they roll with. All right, Weston Weaver, Matt, obviously LSU is poised to make the Omaha and will probably win 50-plus games. If you were to guess how many games they were to lose, what would you say? I don't know, man. Someone asked me that yesterday. Regular season, I think over under 46.5. That means would they go 47-9, which is just an incredible number to think. I think yesterday I said over. I don't know, man. That's so hard to do in baseball. Single-digit losses. I'd expect them to be over 40 wins in the regular season, put it to that way. Can they get to 45, 46? That's when you're talking about a 25-5 type conference record, It's doable. Brad David, other than hiring coaches, what does athletic director do day to day? Fundraising is a big part of it. It's a big part of what Scott Woodward does is for whatever he may need, teams may need funding for facilities or scholarships or endowments or travel or whatever it may be, making sure that you're staying in touch with the right boosters. There are a lot of political ties, obviously, with the state and the athletic department. So meeting with lawmakers, legislators, etc. Big part of it too. And ultimately, you're everybody's boss. So in the same way that when there's issues at your work, people go to the boss, go to the boss. Samuel Smith heard the Hudco song on the radio yesterday. Yeah, we got some ads running with the jingle in it. Andrew Repass, what's going on? Has LSU had 4 better coaches at football, baseball, men's, women's basketball concurrently? I think you could look at when you had, no. I'm just saying when you had Nick, Skip, because you did for the 2000 season and '01. Well, the '01 football season, Skip that was his first football season as AD. But so the 2000 season, you had Nick, you had Skip, you had John Brady, who went to the Sweet 16 in 2000, and the late Sue Gunter, who I think in that year in 2000, you have to check me, I think they went to an Elite Eight. I think the women's team did. But I don't know, man. As far as skins on the wall, probably not. Jesse Brown, Bailey C., Brian Wynn, Tim Gotro, Von Bluesman, Devin Kelly, good morning. Has there been a more hyped, anticipated, talented baseball team since '09? Devin, there was another year mixed in there where they were preseason number one, maybe 2015. The year Bregman's last year, you had Lang coming in. You had a lot of great pitchers coming in that year. I think 2015, they might have been preseason number one. I'd have to check it, but to this level, probably not. Let's see. Oh, it is 7:59. Jacob Hibbard, morning, Matt. What are your thoughts on the new NAL collective? Really excited. There's a way for me, a non-millionaire, to contribute what I can to the football program. Yeah, Jacob, I think, well, a couple things. We talked about yesterday on AFR for those that missed it. We had the president of the collective on the show yesterday also. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. I gotta go. Number one, I think the fact that NIL is a year and a half old and LSU is just now launching its organized collective illustrates what I've been telling you for a long time, which is LSU is very far behind. They will never acknowledge it because I think they have, like an attorney has to say, my client is innocent of the charges. I think they have to put forth a front where they behave as if they are not behind when LSU is very far behind in organization. I mean, it's a year and a half before they launch their collective. I mean, that alone tells you everything you need to know. And I think, Jacob, that not every fan is going to feel like you do. I think there's a lot of fans that are going to say, why would I pay these players? Why would I give my hard-earned money to the players? But there's going to be people like you who are excited to contribute. And I don't have a feeling on it because I never will tell someone what to do with their disposable income or their time. I say it all the time. I wouldn't want anybody telling me how to spend my money or what to do with my time, so I will never tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. So, anyway. Oh, it was Randall, wasn't it? Randall, were you the one yesterday talking about Joe Bear? You got to be related or something like that. There's some connection there. Because realistically, the only way Braden Joe Bear is a big leaguer is if he makes it as a DH. Like if he just gets into the minors and just slugs the ball, which he could do. But, if they're looking for tools, he's really got one where he's elite, and that's power. Average glove, speed, arm, hitting for average, glove, speed, arm, not elite in any of those. But the power is the one thing that's elite. So I don't know. It'll be I'm not saying he won't get there, Randall, and obviously I pull for all the Tigers, but that's a tricky one, man. Maybe he could be the guy that's just the big old dude that stands on first base, catches the ball, and slugs homers. Maybe that could be what he is at the next level. But I'm not even really worried about that. I just wanted to know what his role is going to be on this team. So we'll see. All right, I got to go. It's 8:03. I'm late. My apologies, y'all. Have an awesome day. Thanks as always for watching. YouTube, please smash that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe up to the Matt Scone channel if you haven't done so yet. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page and share the post. Y'all have a great day. LSU Daily is already live. And AFR3. Peace.